Hello everyone, I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching ABC10 Tonight. The woman accused of leaving a dead newborn in a Lodi parking lot made her first court appearance. What her family has to say. Plus parking changes at Sacramento International Airport. What you need to know before flying out. And the weather team activates a weather impact alert day. A look at the hot temperatures expected this week. ABC10 Tonight starts now.
For the first time, we're seeing a Lodi woman accused of leaving her newborn baby dead in a parking lot.
29-year-old Catherine Copeland made her first court appearance in Stockton today.
Her family was there in support. ABC 10's Roxana Elias talked with them as they tried to shed light on why Copeland may have left the baby.
29-year-old Catherine Copeland appeared at the San Joaquin County Superior Court Tuesday wearing an orange jumpsuit and seemed confused when asked questions.
You do have a right to an attorney. What would you like to do in this case today?
What do you mean? Copeland is facing new charges after being suspected of abandoning a newborn found dead near a business off Sacramento Street in Lodi. Lodi police say her charges changed from homicide to a misdemeanor. They tell us an autopsy was performed and it was undetermined whether or not the baby was alive at the time of birth.
Although it outraged our community and broke the hearts of our community that a full-term baby girl was found in the street of Lodi, we must be directed by our duty and only file charges that we can prove. Today we filed the charge of 152 of the Penal Code, which is concealment or attempted concealment of evidence of a death, of an accidental death.
Copeland's aunt, Donna Jenkins, who helped raise her, was also in court. She shared these photos of Copeland when she was younger. She says her niece had been homeless for a few years, and she says she has a history of mental health and drug addiction issues.
They're mentally ill in the streets, and then my poor niece to go through this and not understand what was going on, and just to be blasted all over. She used to be somebody very loving, very beautiful, very smart, graduated early. It's just not fair.
Jenkins says people witnessed her niece in labor, but instead of calling for help, posted videos of it on social media. She now hopes Copeland will get the assistance she needs.
If anything good can come out of this, I hope that she gets the help she needs, the mental health and the drug rehab help that she needs, because she's certainly not getting it, it's sad to say, from where she should be getting it.
In Stockton, Roxana Elias, ABC 10.
Just a tragedy on so many levels. Jenkins says this is not the only case of this kind. She's asking for people to lend more help for those battling drug addiction and mental health issues. Let's continue our team coverage of those missile strikes today with local reaction.
ABC 10's Devin Truby talked with several families waiting to hear if their loved ones are safe in Israel.
October 1st, 2024 will forever be remembered as the day Iran launched retaliation attacks against Israel. But for Groom Alon and Bryant Sapir, it's the start of forever.
A lot of the friends couldn't even come because they've been called up into the reserves.
Their grand ceremony of 450 people cut to 150. Rabbi Jason Gwazdoff has been the leader of the Temple Israel in Stockton for 32 years and is a close family friend to the new couple.
So they got to the wedding site and the sirens went off. All the guests into the basement of the building, which is also the garage and the bomb shelter, and they reversed order. They started with the food and the dancing while this bombing was taking place. And when the all clear was given, they went up onto the roof of the building and had the chuppah, the wedding ceremony. It's just incredible to hear that, and it speaks to the amazing resilience.
The family lives in the northern part of the country near the border and security line, but chose not to leave. They moved the wedding closer to Tel Aviv for safety.
We're worried. It's a significant attack, but we also have a lot of confidence in the Israeli Defense Forces.
For San Joaquin County resident Lori, she was anxiously awaiting word from her sister who lives in Jerusalem.
My nephew was wounded in Gaza in early November. My niece's husband has been called up.
The date of the attack not lost on her, just 6 days before the one-year anniversary of October 7th Hamas attack.
They've been evacuated from the south. They've been evacuated from the north. People are living in hotels and in people's homes and anywhere else that will take them. This has been going on for a year.
Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Devin, thank you. The Jewish Federation of the Sacramento region issued this statement saying in part, quote, "Our region's Jewish community stands united in solidarity with the people of Israel and the brave men and women of the IDF as they defend themselves from these attacks. We pray for their safety."
And as we bring in Monica, I know we did have some crews coming from California to try to help as well.
Yeah, this just goes to show the wide-reaching impacts of this. We all know someone out there or connected in some kind of a way.
Yeah, and you think of these as summer conditions, right, with the hurricanes and everything, and then all of a sudden you go to the West Coast and we're dealing with what feels like summer heat as well. So it's really nationwide. We're dealing with some kind of impact that just seems to be lingering into the season. Deeper and deeper weather impact alert headlines continuing to track the elevated fire weather, near record heat, plus the major and extreme heat risk that we're going to be dealing with across much of California, including our heat advisory through the Central Valley and that excessive heat warning that continues across the Bay. Our temperature right now for San Francisco, 94 degrees. You think about that. A lot of folks in the Bay Area don't have access to air conditioning. That's a very warm temperature right now. Possible record-setting heat for today. This is what we're going to be tracking for the afternoon. Haven't quite reached those afternoon highs, at least officially yet. This is the forecast running down right through near 100-degree heat in the valley, and that's going to be very close to our records. We'll continue to track that for tomorrow, along with some very warm overnight lows in record territory for tomorrow morning. As far as those highs so far for today, right around 100 up and down the valley, 102 for Fairfield, and there's that 94-degree temperature for San Francisco, 90s to near 100 in the foothills, and low to mid 80s in the Sierra. Today actually marks the beginning of our new water year. This is how last year shaped up throughout the region. A little bit above average for Stockton and Modesto. Sacramento Executive and downtown Sacramento were a little bit shy of getting to the near normal conditions, and all of us well below what we saw last year, given that we had that huge drought busting year last year. So despite the fact that we didn't all reach the near normal conditions, we had such great numbers the previous year that things were looking pretty good. Oh, we're live outside of the Big Mountain backyard. Somebody enjoying a little break out there on their phone. Temperatures right now near 100 throughout the valley, 79 for Tahoe. That sunset not until 6:48. Now, the good news with that is that we have less access to daylight hours. So even though we're in possible record territory, at least we don't have a long duration of dealing with those 100+ degree temperatures. We drop off pretty quickly here, 80s by the time we get to our 8 p.m. temperature, but 102 for tomorrow's afternoon high. Dealing with those winds overnight tonight, we'll have just a touch of it. And with those offshore winds and northerly winds, that keeps that warm air close to the surface. And that's why we could see those near record warm temperatures. Then we get that onshore flow coming in on Wednesday, late afternoon into our Thursday. So the peak heat hits us on Wednesday, and then we start to see the access to just a trickle of an onshore flow. Highs tomorrow still in the 80s for the Sierra, with 90s and 100s throughout the hills. 80s along the coast. We're still deep in the 100s for tomorrow afternoon and in record territory for our Wednesday. Seeing some cooling by Friday, but really even then we're still well above average throughout the region. 3-day forecast. We have 2 more days of weather impact alert days, then a little bit of cooling, still well above average before 80s return next week.
Monica, thank you.
The Sacramento International Airport is getting a new parking garage, and since construction for the garage starts soon, the hourly parking lot is now closed. We're talking about the closest parking lot to Terminal B. It's part of a major project called SMF Forward. The project costs $1.3 billion. It will make all sorts of changes and upgrades at the airport, like a new parking garage at Terminal B with 5,500 parking spaces across 6 levels, electric vehicle charging stations, and so much more. Now, airport officials say it's all about improving the guest experience for people coming and going at SMF.
The main thing we want people to know is to give yourself time, 2.5 hours before your flight, because there's a very real possibility you're going to have to park in economy and take a shuttle to your terminal.
It's probably honestly long overdue. There is some challenges at times, coming in thinking there's going to be a garage spot and then not having that, and then having to go out to economy and kind of rushing around.
We typically don't use anything pertaining to the parking garage because we usually Uber or Lyft here. It's easier and we don't have to worry about fees or anything like that.
The total budget for building the new parking garage is $390 million, while Auto Construction is handling the job. It's a women-owned business based in Sacramento that built the Terminal A parking garage at the airport in 2004. The new garage is expected to open in 2026. Until then, there are other options for parking like the daily parking lot or economy parking lots with shuttle service. In Sacramento, Candace Red, ABC 10.
De los movimientos actuales por los derechos laborales, las protecciones.
I began listening to it as a way to stay in touch with the issues in my community, to continue to learn. I just love it. I just enjoy it.
Ever since Jesus Cruz moved to Modesto in 1990, he's been a loyal listener of Radio Bilingüe.
It's important to have Latino-owned radio stations because when you own it, you can control the content and manage it.
30 años llevando a cabo en esta subestación Radio Bilingüe de Fresno, California.
Originally from Oaxaca, Mexico, Hugo Morales and his family came to California searching for a better life.
When I came here at the age of 9, I grew up picking prunes with migrant workers from Texas, migrant workers from Fresno in the San Joaquin Valley.
Early on, Morales dreamt of more for his future.
What I wanted was a radio service that gave the microphone to the listeners, to the common people, to the Latino community.
Morales, a proud Mixteco indigenous Mexican coming from a lineage of farm workers, wanted to be a trusted voice of the diverse community.
Commercial Spanish language radio does not provide the platform for the voices of the Latino people. And that's what I wanted to do.
After starting the first Spanish radio station during his college years in Harvard, Morales came to Fresno to try and start his own radio service from scratch. By July 1980, Morales launched Radio Bilingüe with the broadcast reaching listeners across the San Joaquin Valley, staffed with volunteers in his own neighborhood. Airing in Spanish, English, and several indigenous languages, it is one of the first Latino-controlled FM radio stations in the country.
We train workers, women and men, and youth to come in and get training and be on the air. We literally give the microphone to youth, to women, indigenous people, to farm workers.
No matter the success, Morales says he wants his radio station to remain in the neighborhood for the people he represents.
We, right now, are located in Fresno in the Mexican barrio, and we want to continue to be there.
Even with plans to move in the next few years, Morales says it's still important to be visible to the people he's serving.
Radio Bilingüe is a treasure, and it is by and for the community. It was built by members of the community. It was led by indigenous people, me, right? I'm indígena from Oaxaca, Mixteco. It is the labor of immigrants that build it, and it is the contributions of listeners, workers, that contribute to it.
Conectar visualmente y también a través de estas historias.
I was on the air for a brief period of time because eventually I moved on to training other people that were coming through the door.
An early employee of Radio Bilingüe and now a longtime listener, Cruz reflects back on how important this programming was for his family.
But they listened to Radio Bilingüe while working in the fields, while picking tomatoes or picking grapes or picking oranges. You know, that's how we made our living at that time.
More than 4 decades after its first broadcast, Radio Bilingüe owns and operates 26 stations in California and other states in the Southwest, with an additional 75 affiliates nationwide. Topics currently airing include Spanish news, health, immigration, and racial justice.
Giving the opportunity to young people to listen and hear those voices that are on the air and say, one day I can be that.
In Fresno, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
And north of Sacramento, in the town of Nicholas, a team of filmmakers came together to make some movie magic.
That movie, Livia's House, is set in Sutter County and is coming to a streaming service soon.
ABC 10's Mark S. Allen has been live all morning. He's at the tavern in Nicholas, catching up with the cast and crew from the movie. And you have a new friend. Awesome.
Yeah, it's standing in for Livia. Not Livia, but actual wardrobe worn in the film. It's Livia's house. It's amazing. And it is Nicholas, California, north of Sacramento. If you've never been here, you need to be here. It is lovely. Not the first movie to shoot here. In fact, I'm having a little PTSD because I was like about to pass out about this time a year ago shooting my feature film. And every day of that, I heard two things. Livia's house just wrapped last year, and it's an amazing movie coming out. And I also heard back in the day, Melvin Purvis, GI, at the height of his career, Dick Sargent, dated reference, look it up, Google it, kids, from Bewitched, shot a major motion picture in the city, but now all things back to Livia. It starts with an idea. I want you to meet one of the people who, if not the person who made it happen. Patricia, you're a novelist turned movie maker. How did this happen?
COVID. Basically COVID, yes. Everything shut down, and I just came up with the idea for the screenplay.
That's awesome. So Patricia Davis comes from Northern California. Your husband is a farmer. Looking at some of the aerials of the area, you thought this would be a great landscape for bringing a true story to life.
Yes, absolutely.
And do you want to kind of touch on lightly the true story that this involves?
The true story is there was a serial killer in the 70s. His name was Juan Corona. He was a manager of the farms and the orchards, and instead of paying people who were working for him, he was killing them and burying them in the orchards. So it was pretty creepy.
Horrible story, ripe for a movie that should come out right about this time.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome, and it takes a village. A cast and crew came together for this passion project. So Tara Nicole Caldwell, you are an actress. In addition to that, you supplied some of the music direction for this film and also a producer.
Yeah, I kind of took on a lot of roles. I was really interested. This is my first major feature film, so I really wanted to get my hands behind the camera and in front of the camera and just soak up as much knowledge and experience as I could. So.
And what did you soak up on this film? What did you gain? What do you walk away with?
Managerial experience as far as keeping things on task, assistant producing as far as keeping everybody going, acting. I learned a lot about myself and my capabilities and my range and what I want to work on, and yeah, overall just learned a lot.
Awesome. Joshua Malekos, you are a Sacramento kid, New York City. You're shooting a movie in New York right now. You flew back just to be on this show right now, so give me some elbow. Yeah. Thanks for doing that.
Of course, yeah. Anything to do with Sacramento, I want to be here. I would like to eventually be making films here fully and not be out in New York. But right now, we're shooting a movie called Gravity Hill. It's a slasher horror film. It's going to be a blast. It'll come out next October.
Awesome. So let's talk about this now, this October. Livia's house is awesome, and you can see it when?
Amazon Prime, October 1st.
And Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus.
All your streamers, it's available today. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Your movie has dropped. Now showing worldwide. Livia's house started right here in Nicholas, California. Back to you.
All right.
Just in time for Halloween.
That's awesome. Mark, thank you. And based on that true story about Juan Corona, certainly a bad dude.
Thanks so much for watching ABC10 Tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC10 Plus app. You can get your news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Alex Bell. Join me weeknights at 6:30 on To The Point. Instead of just reporting on the problems, we cut through the noise and look for solutions. We're not afraid to investigate local stories. We're not afraid to include different perspectives. We're not afraid to hold those in power accountable. This is your community, and it's my community too, and we're here to make it better for everyone. Join me, Alex Bell, on To The Point, weeknights at 6:30, only on ABC10.